Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're pulling the engine and we're dismantling it all the way down to the block, and we're taking measurements and all sorts of other stuff. This is the aftermath. I didn't record an actual intro before all this because I just went straight from working on it and preparing it to straight pulling it from the last 2J video. So I'll start off with getting the transmission ready. Alright guys, let's get the motor mounts out, and we're going to go from the bottom. Main reason you remove the bottom bolts is the top bolts are obstructed by the manifold and the oil filter, and it's a lot easier just to remove these than get a swivel in there or a wobble socket. Right now I'm taking off the fuel line. It's right underneath the starter. This one's a lot easier to unbolt than the one that is on top of the engine at the fuel rail. Alright guys, we've got this all set up. So we took the transmission support bolt. We put a thick washer and some fender washers there to hold this. And we've got our chain. We got this all mounted up. So we're getting ready to pull this. I'm gonna go put on my GoPro. So you guys will be on the GoPro camera on my chest. Hopefully they get some good angles.
Yeah, that's off.
Because a lot of people take the headers off because it looks like the headers could be hitting.
Yeah, but it's just grubbing. I think you could wiggle.
Yeah.
You had so much more movement. You can wiggle. Yeah, you got wiggle room all day. I think it.
And I'm the loud one. Hope this don't start just shooting fluid.
Hey, these humongous lines to look at for our problem. That seems like a pretty. Yeah,
Hey.
I think it's just once
Hey,
you
look,
go
the whole engine like fell, and we'll slide right out now.
I think it's gotta go up because
Yeah.
we wiggled it a lot. Right here.
Alright, so I've decided in order for the trans to sit on that tire all the way, we need to remove the headers. I did some work off camera. Got the trans taken off. It's on wheels. Got the torque converter out. I took the trans off without the torque converter, and then got then took the little rubber piece that sits right there. That was a pain. I don't know why it was such a pain, but I struggled with that for a good 20 minutes. This looks brand new.
Little bubbles come out of my butt.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Glad I have that on camera. Alright guys, so we're trying to put the engine on the stand. So to help out with, then instead of trying to put this on that, put this on the engine. So slide that out of your stand, and then you can move this around much easier and position it on your engine a lot easier. Cleaned up a little bit, still a little messy. Put some tables out, put some stuff underneath the tables to clear up some space. But right now, I'm slowly starting to dismantle this thing. Alternators off, power steering pumps off. So I think next is a water pump. And then we will probably get into valve cover, head, and then the block. I think the plan for right now is skip valve covers for right now and get everything off the front. We're gonna try and get the water pump off and this off. There's a couple bolts. One goes into this bracket coming off the block. It's 12, I think, and then this one is a 10. And then there's a couple on the inside of this plastic cover. And so to get to this, you gotta take off that bolt. It's a hex bolt. There was one right here and one right here. All right, guys, so now the cover's off, you can see we got 3 bolts for this tensioner, and there's more bolts down there for the water pump. At this point, I did not have a puller for the crankshaft pulley, so I just moved on to the valve covers and the rest of the head. We're here. I got it to top dead center, and these spin 2 to 1 to the crank. So get your line to the 0 and your little marks to these bumps. Make sure your focus. Your mark on your camshaft pulley to your little bumps on your cover. And then to get this bolt off, you're supposed to use a special holder, but I just used impact. Came off pretty easily. And then we got to pull this pulley off to get into here, and then we'll get to the belt. Got my crank shaft puller set. Just got this from Amazon. I'll link it in the description. It was about 25 bucks. To get these gears off, it is a 10mm hex and then a 17mm socket for those. And you would want to hold the camshaft with a wrench or an adjustable wrench. I'm taking off the camshafts and I put the D-torque sequence up on the screen for you guys. Up next, we're taking the head off, so I put the D-torque sequence up on the screen, kind of moving from the outsides to the inside. Next, we have the upper and lower oil pan and the rest of the oil assembly. We're measuring the rod cap play. So as you see, we're on 0. Goes to 9. Back. You're just measuring how far your how much play you have in your rod, your connecting rod clearance. So now we're going to do that for each cylinder, for each connecting rod, and then we'll compare it to the specification on my laptop. Also 10. Here we are on 0 and to about the 11-12 mark.
on just a minute.
Nice background noise.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys. Oh yeah. YouTube of my. I look like
Hey
a
guys.
gremlin down here.
You do.
Yeah, he's just putting things. He's gonna cut himself on something. I don't even know what he's doing.
That looks.
I think he's breaking more, actually, to be honest.
Got me.
Third time's a charm, no, the fourth time's a charm. Can you get your ass out of my face?
I'm doing something.
You can do it on the other side of the motor where my face.
No, I can't. There's a camera there.
Then move the camera over here.
No.
Okay.
So here are the specifications for the thrust clearance. It's 0.0098 to 0.0158. And we are within that specification, so we're good. Alright guys, so I don't know if you can see. Got the plastigauge on cylinder 1. And I also put it on cylinder 6. I'm gonna get all of them. But you just cut a little piece, put it on there, and you gotta put the cap back on. Right now I'm torquing the rod caps to 22 foot-pounds and marking the very front of them because you need to turn them 90 degrees additional to the 22 foot-pounds. So right here I'm using the plastigauge packaging to measure how flat my plastigauge squished to, and those green and white segments have measurements dedicated to them so that we can compare it to your specifications. Alright, now that we have all the pistons out, we're going to take the crankshaft out. To get to that, we need to take oil pump off and the rear main seal. Alright guys, so now what we have to do is we gotta get the crankshaft timing gear, pulley, whatever you want to call it. So we got these 2 holes that we need to put a bolt in, and I need to go to the store and get a bolt for that. So, alright guys, we got the puller set up. We've got our bolts. They were M6 bolts. There we go. We got the sprocket off.
Oh, you scam me, bud. No.
Huh?
No.
It tells you to take it off with a hammer and a punch, but I don't have a brass punch. Take this. I do not have a brass punch to take said thing off. So this is what we're doing. And it works just as well. Here's the detorque sequence for the crankshaft. You're moving from the outside to the inside. Now I'm doing the crankshaft journal plastigauge, so I'm just putting a nice little piece on all of them, and I'll put the caps on, tighten them down. Here's the torque sequence for the crankshaft. You're moving from the inside to the outside, and the torque spec on this one is 33 foot-pounds with an additional 90-degree turn. So mark the front of those bolts and turn them 90 degrees. You measure it on the paper, so that's about 0.001. Specifications, if I can zoom in, there we go. We are within, because specification is 0.001 to 0.0016. Alright guys, last thing we got to do to get the block ready to go take it to a shop is take these freeze plugs out. We're going to use a hammer, a punch, and some pliers. There we go. So once you guys have it like that, grab them with your pliers and just pry out. Just like that, we have freeze plug out. There we go. There we go. Got the last one out. Or at least for this side, so now we just gotta flip it back over. Yep, that's gonna be a pain. There we go. Just like the other ones, just grab them. The camera. And twist out. Oh, you guys didn't see that. All right. That one's about ready to just come out by itself. Nice. Alright, that's going to wrap up today's video. I'm going to be taking this thing to a shop pretty soon. Getting new freeze plugs, new oil galley plugs that they have to weld onto and pull out. I'm going to have a shop do all that. But once I get back from the shop, we're going to paint the sides of it. And we're going to be buying new connecting rods, new pistons, maybe dig into the head in the next video. I'm not too sure. But that's it for today's video.